Ever wonder why your child with ADHD forgets instructions or needs help with every single step, no matter how many times you remind them? It's not about being lazy or careless. Their executive function, which is the brain's ability to plan and organize, is often delayed by 30 to 40%. So in this video, I'm going to show you what this looks like in real life, why it happens, and how you can help your child without all the guilt. Now imagine expecting a 10-year-old to manage life like a 10-year-old. But neurologically, their executive function is working more like a 6 or 7-year-old. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, not because you failed as a parent, but because the part of the brain responsible for planning, organizing, remembering, starting tasks, and managing emotions develops more slowly in ADHD. When we don't know this, we raise expectations. When we raise expectations, we also raise frustration. And when frustration rises, that is when connection drops. So let's break this down clearly. To start, I'm going to show you what executive function actually is, so you can see what's really going on beneath the surface. And no, executive function isn't about intelligence. It's not motivation. It's not trying harder. I want you to imagine your child's brain like it's an orchestra for a moment. The musicians, which is your child's memory, emotions, impulses, focus, all know how to play their instruments. Now imagine this orchestra doesn't have a conductor. They come in at the wrong time, they play too loudly, they speed up or they slow down. Executive function is the conductor that keeps everything coordinated. When that conductor is still developing, things can sound absolutely chaotic, even though the musicians themselves are capable. Executive function is the brain's management system, and it helps your child prioritize what to do first, remember instructions, shift between tasks, control impulses, regulate emotions. If the conductor is still learning or struggling to keep up, the music is not going to flow smoothly. That doesn't mean that the instruments are broken. It means the person coordinating them is absolutely overwhelmed and the whole orchestra feels it. This is where the guilt starts to soften. And if mornings and evenings are where this feels the hardest for you and your family, the constant reminders, the repeated steps, the chaos, I've actually put together a free ADHD routine checklist that breaks routines into simple, clear steps your child can follow. I'll link it below if you want something practical to use alongside what we're talking about in this video. Okay, so now you know that, let me show you what this actually looks like at different ages. Because 30 to 40% delay sounds clinical, but when you translate it into real life, it becomes very, very real. If your child is 6, their executive function may actually look closer to about 4. That means that they are going to need your help getting dressed. They are likely to forget instructions seconds after hearing them. They may not be able to organize their toys independently. They may have really big meltdowns over really small changes. And that's not misbehavior. That's a 4-year-old level of executive function. Now, if your child is 8, their executive function may function more like a 5 or 6-year-old. So that can look like not being able to start homework alone, losing things constantly, having no real sense of time, needing repeated reminders. If your child is 10, their executive function may resemble about 6 or 7. So this looks like a bedroom that never stays tidy, forgotten assignments, struggling with multi-step directions, emotional reactions that feel quite a lot younger than their peers. Now, if your child is 12, their executive function may look closer to 8 or 9. So that looks like procrastination that feels constant, difficulty prioritizing tasks, losing track of time, emotional responses that don't really match middle school expectations. Now, when your child's a teen, 14 or 16, the gap can still be there, which means high school demands are really overwhelming. Managing multiple classes is exhausting. Deadlines often get missed, and judgments in big decisions is still developing. So when you say, why can't you just pack your bag? You've done this literally 100 times. Or you're old enough to remember this by now. Their brain may genuinely not yet be wired to manage multiple step planning, time awareness, future consequences, task initiation without prompts, emotional regulation under stress. And I want you to hear this. It's not defiance. It's not laziness. It's a developmental lag. And when you truly see that shift, your response shifts too. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily an easy shift to make. So what does this mean for you as a parent? Well, next I'll show you. I know that this is hard because I live it every single day too. And as parents, we want the very best for our kids. We want our kids to be capable. We want them to cope. We don't want them to be behind. But expecting independence before executive function is ready is like expecting a child to ride a bike without stabilizers before they can even balance. Your child does not need the pressure. They need scaffolding. That means things like visual checklists, step-by-step prompts, timers, packing bags together perhaps, breaking tasks into micro steps. And this is exactly why I created the ADHD routine checklist. It turns mornings and evenings into simple, visual, step-by-step routines so your child isn't trying to hold everything in their head. Instead of you repeating instructions, the steps are right there for them. It's completely free and the link is just below the video. Support isn't doing it for them. Support is borrowing your executive function until theirs catch up. But here's where most parents get stuck. Because adjusting expectations can feel like you're giving up. It can feel like you're lowering the bar. It can feel like you're saying, they can't. But I want to be clear, that is not what this is about. This is not about thinking your child can't. It's about understanding timing. It's about recognizing that skills develop in stages, and executive function is one of the last systems in the brain that it fully matures. You can hold a deep, unwavering belief in your child's potential, while still adjusting what you expect from them now. You can believe they will manage this independently one day, and at the same time you can say they still need support for today. That is not weakness. That's developmental wisdom. So instead of saying, you're old enough to know this, try, I can see that this is still tricky. Let's figure out what support you need right now. Instead of, you really should remember this by now, try, what would help you remember next time? Instead of saying, why do I have to tell you every little thing? Try, would a checklist make this easier for you? Do you hear the difference there? The tone shifts from judgment to curiosity, from criticism to coaching, from power struggle to partnership. And when your child feels partnered with instead of judged, that is where their nervous system settles. They feel safer, and that is actually when their brain begins to learn better. And this is how you protect their self-esteem. Because when children repeatedly hear, you're old enough, but their brain can't meet that expectation, your child is not going to think, oh, my executive function is delayed. They think, something is wrong with me. I'm broken. Adjusting expectations does not shrink your belief in them. It actually protects it. And it protects how they see themselves. Okay, now that you understand that shift, let me show you how to build the skills that actually grow executive function. When we misunderstand executive function, we actually chase behavior. We focus on what we can see. The messy room, the missed homework, the emotional outburst, the procrastination, and our immediate instinct is to correct it. Just try harder, just focus, just be responsible. You know better than this. But here's the problem. You cannot demand a skill that hasn't fully developed yet. Executive function doesn't grow because we insist louder. It grows through guided practice, repetition, and support. So instead of just chasing compliance, do it because I said so, we have to focus on building capacity. And that means we need to intentionally teach planning skills, how to map out a task before starting it, how to ask what comes first, how to use a checklist instead of holding everything in their head, emotional regulation tools like how to pause, how to name feelings, how to take a breath before reacting, how to repair after a mistake. We need to teach task breakdown strategies, turning clean your room into pick up the clothes, put the books on the shelf, clear the desk. We need to make the invisible steps visible. Reflection after mistakes, not why did you do that, but what got in the way? What could we try differently next time? This is what actually builds awareness. And awareness builds executive function. Because executive function isn't about obedience. It's about self-management. And self-management is learned, not punished into existence, not shamed into maturity. Skills, that is what we're building. And here's the encouraging part. Executive function continues developing into the mid-20s. With support, scaffolding, and practice, maturation happens, progress happens, independence happens, and not because we forced it, but because we grew it. But here's the bigger shift most parents don't see. When parents understand executive function delay, they stop taking things personally. And when you stop taking things personally, you can respond more calmly to your child. And when you respond calmly, your child's nervous system settles. And that calm relationship becomes the very foundation for executive function growth. Support fuels development, but shame is only going to slow it down. If this changed how you see your child, even just the littlest bit, then the next step is knowing what to actually do tomorrow morning. Understanding executive function is powerful, but applying it in real life, that's where things really shift. Watch this next video. I'm going to walk you through simple, everyday strategies you can use at home to reduce conflict, build independence, and support your child's executive function without the constant reminders. Because once you stop fighting the behavior and start supporting the brain, everything feels lighter. Click here and I'll show you exactly how to start.